guys, it's Steph here. Today I am going to be lifting up my ranunculus. They're done blooming, the heat's setting in, and I want to store them so I can replant them next year, save a little money, and some of these varieties I absolutely loved. It's really simple, so I'm going to show you how I do it. When your ranunculus stems have died off, they're yellow, kind of like your tulips or your daffodils. That's the perfect time to start lifting them. This one's a little bit more green. I'm going to go ahead and do it anyway. That one over there I'll probably keep in the ground just a little bit longer. That one just really flowered for much longer than the rest of my ranunculus. So I like to use a mini shovel for most things, for weeding, for digging little plants, definitely planting my little annuals, dahlias, so on. Okay, so let's pull this dirt off. Kind of just pull those stems off. You can cut them back if you want. Wow, that is a big corm. All right, I rinsed off all of my ranunculus. They're a lot more fibrous and rooty right now just because they haven't died off yet. So this is about as clean as I could get them at the moment. So this is where it gets kind of fun. You can divide them into multiple flowers. So I was researching and figuring out, should you leave them as big corms? And I didn't see any benefits to that. They're gonna be their own little single plant. And since they are annuals, I wanna get as many of these little corms as I can. So I divided that. That one's a tiny one. I don't think I'll mess around and keep the tiny ones because I didn't do very well with them this early spring. They just didn't take off and they kind of fizzled and died anyway. So there we go. That's all you've got to do. I've got 2 out of that one. And then each stem is kind of its own separate plant. And then they just kind of pull apart for you. Here's another one. This is a nice clump. Look at the growth this one plant put on. We'll just pull those apart. That's really simple like that, gentle. I'll go ahead and get my clippers and chop these down. But look how nice these ranunculus look. They're nice and big. These are going to be great plants next spring. We'll do one more. So fun. I'm so excited to save a little bit of money this fall. I counted them. I have about 150 of these corms. So at this point, I'm going to lay them on this plastic sheet and I'm going to just let them dry out until they're hard and a little bit crispy, kind of like you would with your seeds. You just want them to be dry and kind of in their dormant-like state. So in the heat outside, I don't think it's going to take very long. They're obviously going to get a lot smaller as they dry. They're going to shrivel up and they're going to look like nothing. But one of my favorite things in spring is pre-soaking ranunculus corms. Just the way they firm up and get so much bigger is pretty awesome. I let them dry out for about 2 days, but now they're hard and crispy. The next thing I'm going to do is I've got these paper bags. I'm just going to store them in here with some dry peat moss and then put them in my basement at about 50-55 degrees up to 60. You can go down to 45. I wouldn't recommend putting them in plastic bags that can retain a little bit of moisture. And then I will just replant these all over again next spring, usually end of February. Pot them up, start them in my greenhouse, and then stick them out here in the soil about the end of March, depending on what our weather is like. But just make sure you're putting them in a container that's not going to retain moisture. Keep them away from mice, something that can nibble at them and get at them. So I have heard that people have stored them up to a year. This is only going to be about 7 to 8 months for me. So I'm excited to find out what happens. This is my first time saving some money with my ranunculus. I did not want to buy any more this fall, especially since they weren't one of my favorite cold hardy annuals. They just weren't as tough. I mean, they last a long time in the vase, but my stock definitely outperformed my ranunculus. Was so much easier than I thought it was going to be. I did read a story recently about a woman who found some ranunculus corms in her shed. She forgot about it. They're really dried out at that point. It had been a couple years. She found them, put them in some water, they plumped right up, and she was able to enjoy some flowers that spring. Anyway, so I'm not exactly sure how long they're going to store, but I know they'll at least store for 7 or 8 months. I don't intend on buying any more, but when fall comes around or those late winter months and it's almost spring, I get tempted. I see some different varieties that are beautiful, so I might buy a few more. But this way I'm really excited and saving a bunch of money, and I loved so many of these different varieties. I have 2 of my favorite ones in here. So anyways, I hope you guys like this video on storing ranunculus corms. I hope you have success. Thank you so much for watching. I cannot wait to see you in my next video, and I will talk to you later. Bye.